What's up, Gene?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's good.
Man, we've had a lot going on.
We've had a few things going on for sure.
Yeah, we had a lot of activities to catch up on. We've got a Cars and Coffee event and a cruise. Mm-hmm. And then I've got some stuff I've been working on in the garage.
I was about to say you got some stuff you've been doing.
Yep.
Just a few things.
Just a couple.
Not much. Just a few things that's taken up quite a bit of your time. It looks good though.
I have a big garage. When we built this place, everybody's like, because I got that shop too, right? I got a separate shop. And everybody's like, you really need to go bigger. And the shop's 1,000 square foot. They're like, oh, you need to double that. I'm like, why in the world would I ever need a double square foot of my shop? Well, I wish I had double the size, because now my garage is full and I'm limited on how much I can work on at any given point because I've got vehicles inside there. And so now, like today, I had to back out one of our vehicles so I could work on the other vehicle. And then when that vehicle's back in, I have very limited space. I have just too much stuff. So
sounds to me like you have a summer project to open the door up of that garage.
Oh, well, I can't wait for the summer. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was just thinking today on my drive back, I was thinking, man, it'll be so nice in summer where I can take the bottom row of the cars out and then I can work on all the other cars up on all the lifts that I can't do right now because I have to rotate. And yes, I'm a weenie because I don't like to have my cars out in the bad weather, because then I have to wash them and clean them because I'm ridiculous about that stuff. But come the summer, it'll be nice. I can back them out.
Weenie or efficient? I'm saying efficient. I'm being nice.
Yeah.
I know it's rare.
People are like, it's just water. I know it is just water, but I like my stuff to be looking clean all the time. And so just like on our cruise yesterday, I came home, I'm like, I really should get out there and wash the car today. I haven't done it.
I was going to ask you. I didn't.
I did.
Because I knew I was driving out here, so I'm like, nah, I'm not going to bother.
Okay, so let's back up and talk about Cars and Coffee. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I'll start off.
Okay, please do.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll add some color commentary.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so we get there. We meet at Krispy Kreme early. Had a good group. I mean, we had a good showing. I forgot 7, 8 cars or so. Then we take a drive over to Griot's.
So just so you know, the first Saturday of every month, Griot's Griot's Garage has a themed event. So this was the Ferrari event, I believe.
Ferrari.
And not a lot of Ferraris.
I know.
Except the ones, if it's raining, you're not going to see a lot of Ferraris out there. You'll see what we saw. But there was the nice ones inside.
Yeah.
They had a few. Don't get me wrong. There's some. But all right, go ahead.
We get there, and we all get lined up, like nice and neat. And then, it's normal. Griot's always has free donuts and coffee. They do a great job, too, by the way. Just awesome. We kind of mill around, kind of walk around, see stuff, and then we'll let the line die down, go inside, look at the cars on display on the inside, grab some grab some donuts and coffee, and then we'll walk around and just see what's out there and just kind of chit chat. We're walking around, so we'll just fast forward past the inside part. So we're walking around. We're there with David. He's walking around with us, right? Just the three of us, and we're talking. And we're talking about different vehicles. And at one point, we're talking about my Z06 on track. And you were talking about your helmet and being inside the car and where the helmet can hit the roof, and then, if the top is down, and you're like, hey, let me show you this. Now, Gene.
Okay, I forgot where he's going with this story. So I'm as enthralled as I hope the rest of you are, because I don't remember what I said.
So Gene starts telling us a story about when he went to a extreme experience.
I know what he's going to do.
A drive where you pay X amount of money, and then you get to drive in an exotic. And so Gene's telling the story about I forget, it was a Lambo.
It was a Lamborghini Gallardo convertible.
The top's down, and so Gene's telling the story about his helmet and his head is sticking above the top of the car because they have the top down. And so we're all kind of chuckling about this. And I kid you not, I'm not making this up. Within like 3 seconds, he's like, here, let me show you. And he must have this thing saved as like his number one picture, because Within like 3 seconds, he flipped this photo around. Dave and I are dying laughing that it was. I wasn't even laughing that his head was sticking above. It was so funny of how fast he could retrieve that picture. And we laughed for probably a couple minutes. Oh my gosh, I was dying. It was so funny. It's like, here, let me show you on speed dial. I've got this photo that I can just pop up at a minute's notice.
Well, the funny thing is, I just talked to somebody about it recently.
Okay.
And I went and found the picture, and and I hadn't seen it in a while, so I did save it as a favorite. So it was in my favorites thing, and
it's the number one photo.
Yeah, it wasn't number one, but it was there for sure. And so do you remember? We were laughing so hard. I laughed so hard that I was bent over. My bald head was red, and some random dude walks by and goes, "Breathe, man, breathe." I said, I can't breathe. I'm waving the dude off. Get out of here, man.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh.
that was pretty funny.
You look on Gene's phone and it's got like, he's got everything ranked like, family, his wife, his kids, but up top, he's got that photo of the Lambo, and his head is above it.
So the funny thing is, if you look at these, you can't see what I'm showing him.
He's got 20 copies of the same photo.
But here's the car we're going to talk about next. But if you look, this was that day, and right here's that picture up here, because I literally talked about it like the day before to somebody.
Man, it was so funny. Oh my gosh!
And I'm not that tall, but my head was sticking out of the roof line of the Gallardo. Man. I'm like 5'11" on a good day.
Oh. That was so funny. Oh my God. I had not laughed that hard. It was just funny how the timing worked out. That you had that picture happen to be in that location that you could retrieve it like that.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that was so funny.
That was good timing.
So then we kind of walked around, and I think they had a 296 there.
Mm-hmm. They had a couple 296s.
They had a couple 296s that was on the outside. And then they had a bunch of really good looking ones on that the inside.
SF90. They had a couple SF90s in there
SF90.
too. Yeah.
But that was pretty much it. And then we're kind of milling around, and then we're on the infield. And actually, we'll get to that part. This is probably the most packed event I've ever seen outside the summer. Because normally,
yeah, you're right,
the parking lot's always filled, but the infield never is. Not in the winter or springtime.
No.
But it was a nice day out, gorgeous day. People really pent up, want to get out. The entire infield was backed up. I mean, you couldn't even pull in anymore. It was completely packed. So it's cool to see that many cars. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was neat to see. And then we, he's going to kill me. The guy with the Corvette. Oh man, with the exhaust.
Was it Derek?
No. Oh, Charlie. Sorry,
yeah, Derek,
sorry, Charlie.
Close enough.
CD. Only one letter off, right?
Yeah.
It was Charlie. He got the new Paragon exhaust, and so
that's a full titanium, right?
Yeah, titanium.
That's
titanium.
Nice. It sounded sick.
Oh my gosh! So he had told me about it, and then he's like, "Hey, before I leave, I want you to hear it," because I did. I want to hear what the base C8, because when I crank the C8 now, it just sounds like kind of wimpy compared to the Z06.
It does.
And he's like, "Oh no, it sounds way better." So he came and got me before he left, and we went over there. That thing is a beast. It sounded so good. It's got the titanium exhaust tips, but it's got the carbon fiber wrap, so you can still see the bluing, the colors, but it's got that carbon fiber.
It's just a neat look.
It's a neat look.
It adds a texture to the exhaust.
It does.
Which is
it looks
neat.
really good, and it sounded amazing.
Oh, it was angry.
Oh, it was.
It was really angry.
It sounded so good. Oh.
And it was only a catback too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty sure? Yeah.
Yeah, catback.
That
now,
was nice.
he did get rid of the valving, so there's no valves. So it's like that all the time, which I would be fine with, but my wife would be like, nope, can't. I would love to put that exhaust on.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh, that sounds so good.
You have to sleep in it, though. It's probably true.
We wrapped that up, and then we kind of moved into the infield at that point, and we're standing there looking at a vehicle that you probably want to talk about.
I do. So we're standing there, and we're looking at a Buick Grand National, and I made the statement that is my wife's favorite hot rod. My wife's favorite muscle car. Excuse me, my wife's favorite muscle car. And Dan, kind of with a perplexed look on his face, goes, "I don't think I'd call that a muscle car." Well, why would you call it a muscle car? It's an 80s muscle car. It was one of the fastest cars for a very long time. lots of good horsepower, torque. Right, it was a fast beast for the time. No, I don't think it is. So he turns to David and asks David, one of our members, what do you think? And David, I believe, was along with lines with you.
Yep.
He was along the lines with you that no, it's. I don't really consider a muscle car. And I get the traditional muscle car vibe is 69 Camaro, Mustangs, Corvettes, Chevelles, Novas.
It doesn't have to be
Challengers.
60s though.
Well, it could be 70s, 50s.
It could even be newer stuff. I can give you like the Challenger, like newer stuff.
Yeah, okay. GT500 muscle car. I get it. I can, was it you or me? Some young kid walks by.
You did.
I did. So some young kid walks by and I asked him a question. Hey, I got a question for you. Would you consider this a muscle car? And the kid's what, maybe 18, soaking wet.
Yeah, 18, 19.
I mean, he kind of looked at it for a second and goes, yeah, I think I would. Now, I'm over here, I'm gloating. I've got that face of, that's right, punk. I know better.
I looked at David. I'm like, how in the world, this young kid, why in the world would he even think that of this car? So I was shocked.
So Dan challenged him in a nice way. Hey, why do you think that? And he articulated why. I don't know if it was a great articulation, but he articulated his reasoning for it. He validated it, and he didn't back down. So we thought that was funny. Then we walk over, and there's probably maybe 4 or 5 different adults there.
Yeah, there was at least 5, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
They were all older guys. There was one woman there, someone's wife, and then most of them were probably 50s, 60s, 70s, somewhere in that. There's a mixture of that age.
So I asked a question. I said, I got a question for all y'all. Or one of us asked a question, and do you consider this a muscle car? And without hesitation,
oh man,
they all said yes, absolutely.
Every one
so
of
I went
them.
to high five all of them. That's right, you know what's up. All of them said, yeah, of course it's a muscle car. And in the middle of this conversation, the owner walks by.
Yep.
He comes in, he opens the car door. We're talking about the car. He opens the car door, throws something in the back seat, shuts it, and then walks off. Thankfully, nobody bothered to ask him. That would have been embarrassing. Would you call your car a muscle car? So no one did that, thankfully. And there was one more person we asked as well when they walked by, and I can't remember who it was, but I remember the answer was yes, it's definitely a muscle car. So the whole time Dan is he is
oh my gosh,
inconsolable that it was a muscle car. He's like, I can't believe it. I don't get it. So I thought that was hilarious because it was your reaction was what was really funny. To no, you're all wrong. It can't be a muscle car.
I thought this was going to be such an easy win for me.
I know,
right?
I know.
I usually win at things, and I'm like, this is an easy win.
Take the L, bro. Take the L.
I was completely caught off guard. Now, look, I will be the first to admit it's an amazing car. I'm not going to discount it at all. Performance, amazing. There was a 1-year run, right? 87, only year that they did the GNX. Super impressive vehicle. Where I struggle calling it a muscle car is the looks. I just don't think the way that the visual, I have a hard time saying that's a muscle car. So
I understand that.
That was pretty funny, though, because I'm like, this is going to be so easy. Everybody is going to say this is a muscle car, or it's not a muscle car. But, yeah, everyone thought it was.
So according to the bastion of all things, definitionally, Wikipedia, it says a muscle car is an American-made 2-door sports coupe with a powerful engine generally designed for high-performance driving. Now, that's still, let's see, what does Merriam-Webster have to say? I don't even know if that's any better.
Oh, we're going down.
Stop with the 2-door coupe stuff. It's still 2-door coupes.
Well,
I candidly don't disagree. I wouldn't consider my car a muscle car or my 4-door. I wouldn't consider that a muscle car at all.
No.
It just isn't. Even though it's faster than a Buick Grand National GNX, it just is. I still wouldn't consider that, though.
Well, interesting yesterday. So before we did the drive, we're kind of just milling around, eating some donuts, and I was talking with Mark. I'm not sure if he's retired or if he's current, but he's with police, and we were talking about the GNX, and he's like, "Oh, there's one up in your area." I'm like, "Say what?" Oh, wait, let me back up. We're talking about the cars in my garage, and I'm like, "Oh, I have a few too many," and he's like, "Oh, okay. Is one of them a Buick?" And it caught me off guard because I'm thinking, why in the world I have a Buick? Like, they don't make any good cars.
Oh.
And so then he said, oh, well, the Buick GNX. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't have one of those. But it's funny because we were just having this conversation. So anyway, he said that someone up here, and I don't know if it's in this, where I live in this neighborhood, or if somewhere around this area, but he said he had to help recover one that got stolen like last year, I think. He seemed to think it was up here. So I don't know if there's someone in this neighborhood that's got one, but he said that he helped recover one. So, I mean, I've been in this area for 10 years and I've never seen it. If someone's got it, it's hidden well in a garage and they don't get it out very often.
Oh.
So
That car needs to drive, man.
I've got to talk to him again and find out where that was. Because if it is in this neighborhood, I'm going to go over and introduce myself to this neighbor.
Your neighbor's got a cool car.
I do, yeah. He's got
a couple of them out. He's got two Corvettes, right? No, Thunderbird and a Corvette.
Yep, he's got a 60. He's going to kill me. 65 C2, and then I think it's a 56.
Red and black. It's beautiful.
No. It's black and white. It's tuxedo.
Oh, it is tuxedo.
Yeah, it's black.
Which
and
one's
white.
the red and was it? Is it? I thought the Corvette was red and
no. It's black with white interior.
Oh, okay.
And then the Thunderbird is also black, and I don't remember the interior. It's either white or black. I don't remember the interior, and I think it's a 56 Thunderbird. That's the one I'm supposed to go to town on this summer when the weather gets better. And there's some guy right over here. He's got some old, I don't know if it's a C10 or if it's an old Ford, but he was parked outside on the driveway, or not the driveway, on the road out front of my house, revving that thing about a week ago when we had, maybe 2 weeks ago, we had some super nice weather. He was out driving. Really nice truck too. It's all patinaed. Looks really sharp. So
I like the look of patina with like a modern engine and modern suspension and all that, like even a modern interior with a patinaed exterior. I like that look.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's kind of played out a little bit, I think, but I still like it though. It's done really well. What I don't like is when people paint their car or truck or wrap their car or truck with patina to make it look that way. I don't like that at all. That's just disingenuous to me, and you're lying. But I do like, you get an actual vehicle that's got patina, sand it down a little bit, clear coat it with like a satin or whatever so it doesn't get worse, and just leave it as is. Oh, I think that looks beautiful.
There was some guy, he had a newer truck and he wrapped it like you're talking about with that patina, and I forgot if it was on a YouTube or if I was on a forum reading it, but people were like giving this guy a real hard time. And he said, look, wherever he lived, he said, I did this to protect my vehicle because it would stand out and I don't want someone to steal it. And so from afar, you look at it. I mean, obviously when you get close to it,
No, it's a wrap, yeah.
But he said, when you're just driving by and you see it, you're just going to pass it by because it looks like a piece of crap.
That sounds like an excuse to justify a bad decision that no one... So you don't want to be embarrassed by it.
Okay, well, I mean, if you like it.
To each his own. It's their vehicle. They do what they want.
Yeah.
Even if it's a dumb decision.
Hey, whatever.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess that's probably only thing that nothing else happened, right? I don't think.
Not there.
Not there.
Yeah.
So then we moved to the drive.
Yeah.
That was yesterday. First, let me start off and tell you.
Oh, here we go.
We have to meet. The meet was be there around 9 o'clock, and then we're going to leave around 9:30 to head out on about a 3-hour drive. I get there early. I always want to be early. I don't want to be late. So I get there about 8:30. So I'm really early. Where we're going to meet, we're supposed to meet it by a donut shop.
Legendary Donut in Ording.
You get there, and there's parking on the sides of the street. But when I get there, it was completely open. No one was there. No cars at all. Now, in the summertime, that place is bustling. Like early, people are already down at the park and whatnot. But now, no one's there. And my first thought was, if I park here, there will not be enough parking slots for all of the cars because I knew we had a lot of people coming. I move off of that area, and I go park in the parking lot, which there's, you can probably fit 20, 25 cars, and there's 2 of these parking lots. So I go over there and I get the first one. I'm like, hey, we'll just all line up together. We'll have all the cars together. It'll look nice. It'll be a good photo op. So I'm sitting there, and then I see this blue car drive up. And this blue car drives up and parks right in front of the donut shop. My first thought was...
By the way, I got there really early, too.
Yeah, well, you were there maybe 10 minutes after I was.
Yeah.
You're probably like 8:40 or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Gene gets there early. But he pulls directly in front of the in front of the donut shop.
Darn right. Again, there was nobody there other than it was there. I pulled behind a truck that was there,
Yep.
but other than that, no one was on
true.
either side of the street. And I'm
Yep.
thinking to myself, okay, this is probably going to be good. Until two more cars pull in right behind me, and I'm like, this is not good.
So I sent Gene a message, and I'm not looking at my text right now, but it says something like, "Oh, you want to be the center of attention, or you want to park by yourself, or you don't think about others." I don't know. I gave him some kind of crap on the text message of what I said. He's kind of responding back to me like, "Where are you?" I'm still giving him crap because I'm like, "Hey, I got here early too, but I'm parked over here where we have enough room for all the people to park. But I guess you don't think about us." I'm giving him stuff like that.
Well, hold on. Your first statement to me was, not good morning. Is it 8:46 a.m.? Not good morning. How are you doing? Good to see you, sunshine. Nothing really cool.
I wouldn't be saying that.
It was, of course you want to be out front. That was it.
See, exactly.
And he goes, you said, I responded, where you at? You're like, I parked where everyone else could join me, not to be the poster child for legendary donuts. I'm like, oh, this is going to be that kind of day. But you do you. Don't worry, I have it on film. And then it was, of course, me and him going back and forth, having a little bit of fun. But
so then John
I ended up moving, of course.
John shows up. And so then eventually Gene does move. And then, mind you, the parking lot, they're all angled. Okay? So you're supposed to come in from, we'll just say from north to south. I don't know if it was east to west. It might have been east to west. I don't remember the orientation. But you're supposed to come in from one side only and then exit through the other side. It's a one-way through.
yeah, if you're sheeple.
Because all the parking stalls are angled. So if you come in the out, then it's hard to make that flip around because there's not enough room. You have to do a bunch of these 3-point backups, right? Everybody's starting to line up. They're all coming in. David's coming in. People are coming in. And they're all coming from the correct location. Here comes Gene. He's like, nope. I'm going to come in through the out.
Absolutely.
And so then other people had to wait for Gene because they're like heads on with him. I'm like,
okay,
what is up with this guy?
Let's say one person had to wait for me. That was David. And I turned right at an angle, got my spot, no problem. There was a bunch of cars there yet.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, he wants to park out front. He wants to come in. He wants to do his own thing. Oh my gosh.
I'm not a sheeple, man. I do it my own way.
Oh my gosh. So we had a good, I forgot how many cars, but
man,
got a really good photo of all the cars. We probably had 15.
Yeah, I would say 15. Yeah,
at least 15 cars. Really cool photo. Not one other vehicle got in between us. We're all lined up together. So it was a really pretty. And then we head out there to go to the first.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, 15 cars.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, that was a really good showing. So then we head to, it's about, an hour drive? Maybe about an hour drive to the first stop, which is where we're going to get gas and take a bio break. And then that first drive was pretty good. I mean, it has some good parts to it, but it was more of just getting from point A to point B.
Through different towns with
traffic lights.
So there's always the pain of making sure everybody gets caught up. And we had radios as well.
Yeah, we had radios.
A bunch of radios. Some worked for a while and stopped working.
Yeah, we had some
Toward the
issues.
end.
We'll get to that in a bit. We got stuck behind right at the beginning. I changed the route initially to how we're going to get to the gas station because there's a better driving roads. So I'm out front leading the way. Gene's behind me, and then a bunch of people. And so the first group, we're moving pretty good, spirited driving at that first section. A lot of twisties, hills, and probably, I don't know, maybe 5 miles into the drive, man, I catch up to the Orkin truck.
It's this box truck that apparently he wanted to lead the group. Dan was no longer the leader. We were now following this ridiculous Orkin man box truck.
We followed that truck for literally the next hour.
Yep.
This truck did not turn off until right before we got to the gas station.
That's right.
And we even backed off a bit to hoping that he would, let other people catch up and hoping he would go on. Nope. He was on the same route that we were
caught
on.
him again.
We caught him again.
We were so the joke became we're drafting him. He's our pace car. I mean, it was,
he secretly has a Cadillac of his own, and he wanted to feel like part of the group.
Right.
So that was uneventful, and we get the gas station, then we stop, and we filled up, and then at that point, my phone went bonkers. I could not, for whatever reason, the map would show up, right? In Google Maps, the map would show up, but it would not let me do directions. I could click on it, but nothing would happen. So then Gene is taking my visual map and then recreating it on your phone so that you had the map, and now Gene's out front. So then we take off, and now we're following Gene. So we're following Gene. So Gene's leading the way. That was a great drive.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we were motivating. At one point, there was just 5 of us. It was me, you, David, Paul.
Yeah, Paul was there.
And I think, Jesse.
Okay.
There's 5 of us. We left the pack. We had to slow down to catch up. So they could catch up to us a few times.
A couple times. We're moving pretty good. That was a good group that we're moving on.
Safely, having some fun in the rain.
Yeah, the rain off and on, but for the most part, I would say 90% of the time it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
A couple times we had it, but overall, great driving roads. Really fun. Now we did have walkies, and we had them spread out through the entire group, which was really good and helpful, especially because Alberto was kind of like mid pack, and so he was able to make sure that the last of the group coming up from the rear, I think like Ben and John were the ones at the very end. Alberto would be able to say, okay, we've all made it to the turn point, we can go, and then he would give us a thumbs up, and then you could take off. At some point, though, when you do push to talk on the walkies, it's PTT, push to talk. So you press the button or push the button, you then talk, and then you release the button. Very simple. Now, I'm making a deal of this because people sometimes forget how to use that. Like, they'll start talking and they won't mash the button or press the button, or they'll never let up the button, or they'll just press it a couple times, and it's just annoying, right, if you don't know how to operate. I don't know, maybe halfway through our drive. So the second half of the drive was probably 2 hour?
Yeah.
Probably about 2 hour drive. About halfway through it, someone would start to talk, and then it was like someone was like pressing the button nonstop the entire time they were talking. So if I said, hey, there's a left turn up ahead, it sounded like someone was pressing the button like 5 or 6 times during that time. So at one point, I even got on the walkie and said, hey, whoever keeps keying the mic, please stop it. Press it once to talk and then release it. And it was funny because when we get to the end position or the destination, 2 other people said, man, I'm glad you said that, because I was getting ready to say it because they're getting irritated. But what turns out to be...
That was me. So it was me, but the funny thing is the radio I was using for the first half of the drive, it was fine. I would talk, it was fine. I'd give directions, here's where we're going to go. And then for whatever reason, the radio stopped working correctly. Now, we found this happen the last time you and I did the same drive.
Yep.
And luckily I had 2 radios when Dan and I did. I switched over to a different radio. It worked fine. There's a short in that button somewhere. Now, realizing those were my teenage kids' radios that I stole, right? They're like $60 brand new, like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So they've been through some stuff, and I completely forgot that one of them had a key that was a problem. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even brought it. I would have figured out which one it was and not even brought it. So I ended up realizing, oh, this is me after Dan said that, because no one was hearing me. Because I would talk and I would say, can anyone hear me? And no one would respond. So I realized, oh, that's me. I texted them that this was me. So I ended up pulling over, and it was really where I pulled over was not the best place to do it.
It was not.
But I had to pull over somewhere because I needed to get a new radio. David gave me his.
Yeah.
But his battery was dying.
I know.
So I would only hear half of what people said. I was like, at least, but y'all can hear me. That's more important than,
Yeah.
So we ended up getting to where we're going at We Be Smoking.
Yeah. We be
in Olympia. it was, we had a good laugh at it. I had to own up. It's me, my radio. I'm buying new ones. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make the command decision. The V Club is going to invest in some radios for the Pacific Northwest chapter, and I'm going to buy probably a kit of 5 of them. I think is what I'm going to do, because I think it's really important. It's from a safety standpoint, we got to have them. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, we need to have.
I'm going to get a set of nice ones.
I know David mentioned that he was going to bring his kids Frozen ones next time. And we're going to make him sing hilarious. Every time he gets on there. He has to sing like the songs.
If you bring a Frozen radio, you probably should at the penance for your sins.
It does really help. Everyone having radios. I mean, we didn't have them for every person, but we had it for at least 10 cars, I think. Mm-hmm. So that was really helpful. It is important, especially if you're doing like a multi-hour drive. 1 hour drive, okay, no big deal. But if you're doing multi, like we did 3 hours of driving, everyone really needs to have a radio so you know what's going on.
Especially if you have drivers who are, the drivers up front are we're the spirited drivers, and we're track drivers. We do this, and we're pretty good at it. We're safe, but we're still fast, but we want to go and enjoy. We're going to leave the pack, so we have to. There's a few things that we've learned on this trip. You tell me. There's a few things I've learned after doing a few of these, but this one kind of solidified it. One, we need a better app. And we need an app that has waypoints, and then that everybody understands if you're going to do a cruise with us, this is the app you're going to use. Yep. Because there's so many times where we had to pull over. There's the time we put over for 5 or 8 minutes, waiting for
at least
3 people to show up.
Yep.
But if they had the app, they could just followed us and just follow the same route. So it's probably better for everyone to have. I know Relista makes an app. There's another one that but that's a pay as you go. If it's bigger than a group of 10, I think is what you told me.
Yep.
So I know there's another app you were telling me about that. It's free. You can preset the waypoints. Yep. Everybody understands if you're on the cruise, you're using this. If you get lost and you didn't use this, we'll see you next time. Because I think it becomes a kind of a safety issue, always pulling over and waiting for people. So I think that's what we'll have to do going forward. That's true. And then having good radios. But what was it that, who was it? James? Ben. Ben was telling us that he learned about the radio wavelengths.
Oh, yeah. He was saying that he was talking to Travis. And Travis was saying that if you go to different channel.
Like 22.
/ if your device does subchannels, not all of them do. But if you go to like the lower end, like 22 in this case, that it has a better range. I didn't know that. So that's interesting to know, because I thought it was the distance of the radio, because you're using the same frequency. It's just a channel. So I didn't think the channel gave you better range. So I need to look into it. But if that's true, then that's cool. But
I guess it's kind of similar to Wi-Fi, right? You've got the different channels of Wi-Fi and the different 2.4 gigs.
Now we moved into the technical podcast.
Yeah, but still, it's very similar how that RF propagates that way. So, but good learning from that as well, that we'll have to shift to a different channel. Because I think you said channel 1 is like if you've got line of sight and you're 500 feet ahead, something of that nature, you get really clear. Channel 22, sub channel 2 or whatever, you a much longer range. So
I think
try it out.
It's going to be difficult because some people aren't going to buy, like my radios are expensive.
Yeah.
Most people aren't going to buy expensive radios. They're just going to get, a $40 radio they've had for 8 years, right? I think
that the key doesn't work.
Yeah, we'll always be limited by that because not everyone's going to have the same level. But if everyone has them, then at least, like in this case, I think maybe Ben, someone was telling me that they could hear Alberto, everything that Alberto could hear us. So he was in the middle.
Translating, yeah.
So they couldn't hear everything. They said, hey, sometimes when we're all together, they could hear us up front. But then when we got spread out, they could only hear Alberto. So the distance comes into play. But if everybody has them, at least you can have communication through the entire group.
Yeah.
But the app is really is for multi-hour and you have a large group.
You got to have it.
We have to because, while Google is good at a lot of things, the Google Maps option when you're routing limits you to the number of stops that you can have. And then just as we discovered on this time, for whatever reason, Google Maps would not let me drive the route.
Yep.
It kept wanting me to send me a different way, even though visually it was showing me I couldn't do it. So there are several apps that are out there. I've been testing a whole bunch of them. There's one that's for free. They want some of your information in order to get access, but it's minimal. But having an app is definitely going to be important. Now, if you only got like 3 or 4 or 5 guys or people, not just guys, but that are going out on drive,
Radio's fine.
yeah, radio's totally fine. But if you're going to have a big group, or even
Or if it's a multi-day.
then we
Yeah.
have to have something like that. But that was fun. Wrapped
That's a
up
great
good
time.
food.
Yeah.
Good food.
It's so funny. We walked in and the owner, Gilbert, I introduced myself to him and I said, "Hey, I'm Gene." And he looked at Gene Hawks. I've never met you before. How do you know me? He's like, "I've been stalking you on Facebook." I'm like, wow. He starts talking about, when are you going to invite me to your sim racing? Yeah. So dude's got a GT350.
Yep.
Now, did you also know he has a Volkswagen? You know the more modern rounded Volkswagen that he had. It's 500 horsepower.
Like a new Bug?
New Bug, and they put an Audi TT all-wheel drive system in it.
Whoa.
Yeah. Full 4-wheel drive, 500 horsepower with an Audi TT all-wheel drive system. He showed me the video. I got to find it again, but he showed me the video of it on the dyno. Man.
Okay, I've never heard of people
I've
swapping.
never heard
bugs
that either.
like that. Interesting.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's good. Good food.
Yeah.
We had cornbread, barbecue chicken, ribs, dirty mac, and beans.
The Dirty Mac was good though.
Dirty mac was good. Yeah, it was good. Good. They had it blocked off just for us, so we're the only people there. Hour or so eating lunch. They had all the food ready when we got there, which is great. We were a little bit late. We left the beginning a little bit late, and then we took a little bit longer at the gas stop. So we were a little bit late, but they had everything ready for us. We jumped in and got going. Then we wrapped up and headed out.
Yeah.
So that was a great day, though.
That was good day. That was a lot of fun,
day.
man.
All right. Today, kind of easy topic for today. It is easy topic.
Okay.
Things that you have pet peeves about related to something about automotive. And I've got 3. Okay. So I'll start talking to give you time to,
Yeah, please.
to think. Okay. Some things that are really pet peeves of mine. I have several, but I think I've narrowed it down to just my top 3. First one, piano black. Inside cars.
Stop it.
I know why manufacturers do it because it looks pretty. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you touch it, it's scratched. And then you have to polish it in order to get it out. Now, they started coming only in higher end vehicles because, again, it looks very nice. But now it's trickled down into everything. It's in all vehicles. Maybe not in all vehicles, but it's in lots and lots of vehicles, and I can't stand piano black because of how soft it is. Now, most people are not going to take the time to either protect it with PPF, right? So you can put PPF, like, really thin PPF, you can put over it to protect it. Most people aren't going to do that, nor are most people going to polish it. So like when I get some detail jobs in and they've got piano black, if it's really bad, which I can't even honestly remember a time where one wasn't looking terrible. Mm-hmm. Then I get in there with polish and I've got like a little 1 inch and smaller, maybe even a 1/2 inch pad that I've got on one of my buffers. And then I'll go in there with just a little slow speed, a little bit of polish, and I'll just work that area. And then whatever I can't get out, I'll use my hand with my finger, and I'll rub it and get it clean. And it probably gets, 90% of the scratches out. It's not perfect because if it's really bad, you might as well just replace it altogether. But most people aren't going to do that either unless they take it to a detailer who's going to clean it up. So now whenever I get into cars that's got piano black, my eye goes to it immediately and they look terrible. I wish they would stop putting piano black in vehicles and use a different material that just either doesn't show the scratches or is just a different material where it's not getting scratched. But that piano black, I can't stand it.
I agree with you on that. I had that on my ATS-V, and it accumulated so much dust and smudges, and I hated it. I wanted to put an applique of like carbon fiber on it, but then that would have been a different pet peeve of right? Fake printed carbon fiber plastic. It's worse than, so I left it, but I agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah, the piano black, that's got to go. Okay, so that's one. My second one, and these are in no particular order, but my second one is the lack of buttons. And I know this isn't new, Everybody's talking about the lack of buttons in newer cars. For me, it is a huge pet peeve because I can't stand to get in cars where everything is electronic. I'm definitely much more analog. Like I like to touch and feel stuff. And actually, I just heard, was it Volkswagen? I think I just heard yesterday or today, I was listening to some news, and the head designer, I think of Volkswagen, has said that they've listened to their customers and they are bringing back buttons for, I forgot the wording, but like crucial features that like HVAC or just crucial features or functions. They're going to put those back as buttons, because when you get in vehicles and you have to go through menus to get to HVAC, my seat warm, well, like just stuff that I can normally press a button, it's so irritating because today, like you get used to the button feel, right? Whether it's like some buttons have the concave, convex, like for example, Windows, right? You can reach over and you can feel, you know what it is. Or if they've got indentations like dimples, so like on the C8, while I don't like the wall of buttons, they have different feels for them. And so I can reach over and I know exactly which button that I'm on. Having physical buttons, maybe not for everything, but for all the critical stuff, I think, one, it visually looks better. I don't like that. I can't stand the Tesla look.
Oh, yeah.
All the vehicles that Mercedes, there's a lot of vehicles that have that very minimalistic type look, and everything's electronic. That's not my gig. I definitely would prefer to have more manual buttons than electronic buttons. So that's my second one.
Okay, I'm with you on that.
My third one, and this should really be for everybody, but I know it's not. People doing stuff on their cell phone while they're driving irritates the heck out of me. And there's some people that, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's people that I know that I've seen them on their phone while they're driving their vehicle. And I will say something. Hey, you probably should put that down. Hey, let me look that up.
Who would that be?
That is,
it's not safe.
It's not safe.
For sure.
And, it's like people who continue to drink and drive.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, how many people have to be injured or get killed for people to say, man, I should not get behind the wheel when I'm intoxicated, but they still do it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with cell phone. You take your eye off just for a split second, man, stuff can happen. That's something that's 100% preventable, is to not be on the phone. I get the urge, right? You get connected to your device and you feel that you need to be on it. Today, it was funny. I was driving back, had my daughter in the vehicle, and I have my phone kind of, have got a magnet where it kind of sticks up. I'm not on the phone. Like, I don't use my phone while I'm driving. Like, I don't get on it. But like, if I'm at a stoplight, then like if I need to check it, like the weather or traffic, or if I'm something at work I need to check on, if I'm expecting a message, when I'm at a stoplight, then I'll just reach over and look at the phone. As I was driving back today, the phone was on and I got a message in. Something had happened at work. Something really bad had happened at work. And so I was expecting something and I saw a message come in, and I was driving and I almost like just instinctively reached over to tap it, but I stopped myself. I'm like, oh, I'm driving. I can't do that. And so I didn't do it. It just reminded me, I'm like, gosh, man, so many times people will still do it. And I'm driving down the road and I look over and there's someone in the car with their phone, or if I'm in the car, I'm definitely going to tell someone, hey, let me do it. Put your phone down, because it's just not worth it. So
yeah,
there was one guy, I used to listen to this group of guys that there's like 4 or 5 of them that did a podcast. I don't think they do it anymore. They did about 70 or so. And then I don't think I've seen anything in the last year or so. So they probably don't. I stopped listening to them because the one guy was bragging about how much time, the type of activities that he does on his phone while he drives. He was bragging about this, and this is, I won't mention the name because, I'm not going to mention their name,
sure,
what group or they're associated with, but they're well known, and the fact that they're bragging about it was just really irritating. I'm like,
yeah, that's setting a bad example. If you're going to do it, no one can stop you from doing it. And to your point, there are repercussions potentially for it. But you don't sit here and actively espouse doing it, because you get some young kid who's like, oh, they do it.
Exactly.
Oh, why can't I do it?
Yep.
I can do it too. They did it as well.
Yep.
It does set the wrong example.
It does set the wrong example.
Yeah.
So those are my biggest three. I've got more, but those are my biggest three. What say you?
Okay. I'm going to say vents.
Ooh, vents. Okay.
Vents or exhausts that are fake. So you look at some cars and they've got these nice
not HVAC vents.
No.
Okay.
You like outside, like vents on the back of the fender or in the front of the car that are just blocked off.
Yes,
and it looks, and they're
off.
fake. Oh, come on, that was a design choice.
Yes.
Put a hole in it. Make it look decent. I mean, there's no point not to. Maybe for aerodynamic reasons they don't, because they want certain coefficient of drag and it would mess it up. Okay, then don't put the vent there. But they make it look like they've got these sporty cars with vents that go nowhere, or these vents on the hoods that do nothing. Same thing with exhaust. You have these 4-row exhaust where only one of them does anything. Right? Or maybe two. The other two just look cool.
I know they're just stuck on there.
There was one car, I can't remember the manufacturer, who has got a 4-row exhaust on a 4-cylinder and only one exhaust works. It's like, wait, what? No, stop it. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself.
I agree with you on that.
I can't stand that. So fake vents and fake exhaust pipes.
Yep.
There's a BMW actually where they've got the tip like bolted to the fascia, and the exhaust pipe itself from the exhaust it doesn't actually get bolted to. It's kind of sitting butted up against. So you can shake the exhaust pipe itself, but the tip doesn't move because it's not part of the tip.
Well, the Z06 is the same way.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the exhaust comes into it, but the tip is mounted to the bracket on the fascia, but the exhaust comes into it and they're not connected.
You would think that would rattle or something and hit.
Well, on the Z06 it's well connected, so there's no movement whatsoever. So. But it was done for the resonance of how it reflects the sound off of it. So that was, you go look up a video from Tad, she'll explain why. But the rattling, that's not there. But
if there's a reason for it,
if there's
okay, fine. Yep. But if it's just, on a non-performance car that you do that, oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's weak.
I agree
with that. That's weak sauce.
That's total weak sauce, Magoo. Adding multiple exhausts because I've definitely looked up under vehicles and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
I get it. They're doing it for the design, but
they want symmetry. Listen, I get symmetry, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but if you need symmetry, you know what? Weld an exhaust pipe to the other one, even if it doesn't work. Just make it look like it's going to do something. I can't stand it. The other one is people who take dirty cars to coffee and cars or car shows.
Oh, really?
And their cars are filthy.
Oh,
I've seen that so much. I can't stand it. It really annoys me. Listen, there's times where cars are going to get dirty on the way. That's fine, but there's times, I'll go to a car show and, maybe my shoes need to be cleaned a little bit on the car. They didn't get cleaned perfectly. So I always bring stuff with me. I'll touch it up, move on. If it's a rainy day and no one cares because it's all rainy. Okay, fine. I get it. Like where we live.
Yeah.
But on a summer day, on a Saturday and a Sunday, there's no excuse to show up with your car dirty. But so many people bring their cars and they're just not dirty. They're filthy.
Interesting.
And that is an annoyance to me beyond measure.
Now, I don't want to go anywhere with a dirty car just because of how I am. I want my stuff to look good all the time.
Mine too.
But that's funny because I've never thought about other people's cars at a Cars and Coffee. Now, a car show, I get, right? You're going there for a car show, but Cars and Coffee is just there to see other vehicles and hang out with car people. So that's interesting. I never thought about getting your car cleaned up just for Cars and Coffee.
But if you think about it, though, people who are going to show their cars at a Cars and Coffee, it's not a 1988 Ford Taurus that they're showing. It's generally, and maybe if it's an SHO, maybe, but they're generally it's something of either emotional value.
Yeah.
Like your father gave you the Nismo, right? There's some emotional value, and it's a cool car. Even though I make fun of it quite often, it is a cool car. So if you wanted to show that, that's cool. You have pride in showing it. I would think people would have pride in keeping it at least moderately clean.
So
showing it moderately clean.
How do you feel about people taking a car through a car wash then to get it clean before the car's a copy?
It's better than nothing. It is way better than nothing. And at a pinch, it'll work. Because I've done that. That's why you're saying that, because I did that last time. So I generally, I pull out the pressure washer. I like to spend hours on my car. And my last job was a whole lot easier. This job, I live and die on Teams. So I'm on video Teams all day. So that's number 2. Number 3, and people may not like it, but AutoZone customization. Buying all the custom parts from AutoZone-ish, you can just tell. And I get somebody doesn't have any money, and this is what they're trying to do something for their car, so make it look cool. I do understand that, right? And at least you're doing something. But I think there's still a way to make it look good without looking as bad as some of these cars look with AutoZone customization, and it could be just an auto customization, whatever.
But what's funny is that
you know what I mean?
When I was 18, 19, and we've talked about it before about my vehicles back then, it wasn't AutoZone, but there was another, whatever the Auto Parts Star was back then. I would do that stuff because that's all that I had, and I wanted to do something, and so I was one of those people. Yeah,
but I've seen your cars though. At least I've seen the truck. It didn't look like it. It looked like it was more thought out.
It was probably more J.C. Whitney than it was probably the auto, because I did a lot of stuff through J.C. Whitney.
But you understand the concept of what I'm going for, right? You can tell when they're and it may not be AutoZone, but you can get these big wings like you can see on the movie Cars, so like triple wings on it. And come on, man, please don't do that. That's just, I guess to each his own. I get it. Yep. But you talk about pet peeves; those are pet peeves. Now, when I was 18, probably not a pet peeve.
Yep.
But as I'm 52, it's a pet peeve. I've become less patient on those things.
Oh, that's funny.
And if you're doing that and I offended you, sorry about that. Not trying to.
You mentioned when we're talking about piano black about overlays.
Yeah.
Oh man, I get not being able to afford like a replacement part. So say carbon fiber in this case. I've seen some pretty tasteful carbon fiber wrap that look really good.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, you couldn't tell because it looks that good. But most of the stuff that I see, you can definitely tell, and it looks pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I think that, people are well-intentioned, but the execution is really lacking. And so to me, I think that's, when you talk about tacky, to me, that's like, oh gosh, just take it off and leave it stock until you can have someone do it right.
Yeah.
Because it just, man.
There's things about my car, our black wings, that I don't like the, the 8-inch screen is. They have these two little rubbery pads that have got some indentations that are horizontal. I don't like those. And then there's the piano black, but it's got some sparkles in it.
Yes, so it's the carbon flash.
Yeah, it's got jazz hand. It's the jazz hands of carbon or of plastic.
Yep.
And it is. I really want. I told this to Vladdy from Street Driven Performance. Hey man, you need to build something like that. Right? Take something apart, make it look like it's factory. It matches the factory carbon fiber and the weave. I think it's a 4x4, whatever it is. If it looks the same, you'll get a lot of people selling. If it looks different, like I wouldn't buy a weave that looks different than what came with the car. So it's got to be the same.
I haven't tried to pull that piece out. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it either.
And like in our XT5, it has more carbon fiber in the XT5 than I have in the CT4, which is
really
hilarious. But there's I definitely that carbon flash piano black piece that you're talking about. I've never tried to pop it out, so I don't know. Is that something? Is it literally just put a pry and you pop it, or is it connected to that unit that you have to pull out? Because if you have to pull the unit out, no one's going to do that.
No, it's going to have to be a thin carbon fiber piece that's been molded and fits over top, and it's probably going to be glued down or
It'll be
double
3M.
stick take. You're right, double stick
3M.
take, right? Yeah. As long as it matches, and if that's the case, fine. As long as it looks OEM and it doesn't look like, oh, he went to AutoZone and bought it, it's fine.
Only problem with those 3M, and there's a couple of pieces that I thought about getting for the Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Because it also has piano black again, and I hate it because I'm super careful not to touch it because I don't want to have to polish it. A company has come out with an overlay, super thin, like razor thin overlay. When you put it on, you can tell because there's indentations on that piano black.
Where
you can actually see, it goes down there, so you know it's an overlay. Some of these pieces, like that piece we're talking about with on the Blackwing, you probably could tell because there's a flush piece. So you're going to tell there's like there'll be a little hairline. You can probably see a shadow or a gap there.
Yep.
I don't like if you can tell that, hey, there's something applied to it. I
agreed.
I can't do that.
Well, so on my ATS-V, it had the capacitive buttons, right, for the volume stuff was annoying. But you're talking about piano black, the side skirts, right? The Aero side skirts on the ATS-V was carbon black, or not carbon black. I'm sorry, piano black, and I didn't have any on my car, so I wanted to find some. And our buddy at GM told me, okay, if you do it, you're going to probably end up with there's 14 rivets that you have to put in there.
Oh, they're riveted.
They're riveted in there, and I bought the rivets. It's like $5 for a box of 80,000. I mean, it was dirt cheap. But he said when they put them on at a very specific torque setting. So because if you push it in too hard, it'll actually be too tight in some areas and not tight enough in others, and it makes the piano black look wavy. Oh, so I didn't end up doing the whole thing at all. I'm like, I'm not even going to do it because I don't have that torque piece, and I want to make sure that it's not wavy because I can see where if it's really tight on this one and then in between this connection and this connection, it's not as tight, so it dips. I'd pull it right back out. So why bother?
So I want to know what did you do with 80,000 rivets?
I still have them in a semi in my backyard.
Have you ever used a rivet gun?
No. Oh, yes, I have, but not with those.
Oh, okay.
I have 80,000 others. Okay, I might have exaggerated 80,000. More like 80.
That's a lot of rivets, man. That's a lot of rivets.
It's a new business. I got to get on Shopify and sell them.
That's why Gene's got a strong forearm because he's been squeezing the rivet gun.
Yep.
All right, man. I guess that's a wrap.
That's it, man.
Yep. Till next time.
Till next time.
Later.
See you.